Well, this bombshell has dropped. It looked like Dan Snyder may be forced to sell the team, which first of all actually is a thing. The NFL legally could force Dan Snyder to sell the team, first of all, but we're about to get into this Washington Post article and the big bombshell that everybody was alluding was going to come out today, and it has finally dropped. I'm going to get into some of the disturbing details and all of that. This your boy Rico from Street Scores. Before we get to the video, I'm just going to do a quicker version of the huddle. Just want to let y'all know to go buy the best Washington team merch you can buy. Go to the description under Go Get Street Scores merch. Also become a channel member for exclusive perks and benefits and exclusive videos and things like that. Like when I do my film sessions, you'll get the longer versions of them. Also check out my shows like on Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. like today in an hour. It's a show where y'all call in and y'all voice y'all opinions, y'all ask y'all questions. So that's the platform for y'all. Then Friday nights, 8 to 10 p.m. is me and two of my friends just talking about everything in life. Anime, gaming, sports, basketball, football, music, anything. And then Sundays, 2 to 4 p.m. is where I reply to every comment. So make sure y'all pull up for those shows. Now, let's get it. Alright, now first of all, I want to start with the whole list of rumors before we get to the facts. Before we get to what's said in the official Washington Post article. There's one screenshot that has a bunch of accusations in it. I'm not exactly sure how true they are, but it says, according to insiders and anonymous Washington Post employees, Dan Snyder abused drugs and alcohol, which I can't even doubt too much. And then Snyder paid off refs. Oh, wait a minute.
What?
Some refs have made $2 million from him. And Snyder is not the only team owner paying refs. Others do it too. Well, it must be 31 other teams, and the other 31 other teams are paying the refs more because there's no way we've been getting any benefit from the refs. You can easily see we have had a bias from the refs for years. Ryan Kerrigan is held almost every play. Morgan Moses is called for holding almost every play. There's no way Snyder paid the refs. We have to be top end of the league and penalties called against us. We have to be. If Dan Snyder paid the refs, he needs a refund immediately. Also, it says Snyder and former Redskins coach Jay Gruden, brother of John Gruden, pimped out their cheerleaders to season ticket holders while holding their passports from them in a foreign country. Oh, and then also Jay Gruden is being accused of sleeping with the same woman, basically really a side woman, as deep in the depth chart running back Capri Bibbs. They were sleeping with the same woman, and when Jay found out, he allegedly benched Bibbs, being petty, and that was the game that Bibbs was benched. Bibbs' replacement, Byron Marshall, is the one that missed the block that led to Alex Smith's leg getting destroyed. And then, everything that happened after that. The season was over, basically. We had the Alex Smith documentary, his recovery, his comeback. So, Jay Gruden, if you're the reason that Alex Smith really went through all that he went through, that is wow. All of this is crazy. Of course, the cheerleader thing is way worse. Because pimping out cheerleaders and holding their passports in foreign countries is extremely crazy. And poor Alex Smith, man. Also said that Snyder and Gruden would hold sex parties with rampant drug usage and some sexual assaults. Also, Snyder held some new photo shoots with the Redskins cheerleaders, and they alleged that lawyers are involved and possibly the FBI. I know for a fact lawyers are involved because Dan Snyder hired the top of the top lawyers. Just like my boy Chad Ryan said, there are lawyers and there are high lawyers, and then there are lawyers on the level of Beth Wilkinson. Dan Snyder is paying huge top money for that lawyer. He is not playing. He's doing whatever he can to keep this team. But with these details I'm about to give y'all from this Washington Post article, even though he's not the one doing everything, first of all, everybody that's been accused of anything in this article is here no longer. So you could tell that Dan Snyder tried to look like the good guy by saying, once we found out, we fired them. So everybody that's accused of anything isn't even here anymore. But I'm definitely assuming Dan Snyder knows. And poor Ron Rivera, because he's walking in to one of the worst situations ever. He had to deal with a bad owner previously, and he walks into another one right when they're at their worst, right at the end of all of the controversy. His job was to come here and clean house. And y'all were talking about Dwayne Haskins was a bust, And he was dealing with all of this. This is the coaching staff and the front office he was dealing with. There's no way you can be a productive player, a growing player under these circumstances. I'm surprised we got what we got out of every player that's been here for the past few years with all of this going on. Most teams don't have these type of distractions and dysfunctional infrastructures. But to put it plain and simple, these allegations from this article start from 2006 all the way to 2019. And they generally fall into two categories: unwelcome overtures or comments of a sexual nature, and exonerations to wear revealing clothing and flirt with clients to close sales deals. And again, the Redskins have fired everybody that's being accused of anything here, but it's still scary if Dan Snyder knew it not. But now they've hired a top lawyer to investigate everything to prove their innocence, I'm assuming. But first of all, shouts out to Emily Applegate for being the brave one that would step up and reveal her face and add a face to this in most of the accusations, because there are also 14 other women who are making these accusations. So there's 15 total, including Miss Applegate. But the other 14 wanted to make sure they gave their information anonymously. So shouts out to Emily Applegate for being brave enough to be the face of this, first of all. Now let's start with Snyder, because Snyder routinely belittled top executives, according to 3 former members of his executive staff, perhaps most intensely Greene, a former sales executive whom Snyder mocked for having been a male cheerleader in college. After one executive staff meeting, according to one former employee, Greene said Snyder had ordered him to do cartwheels for their entertainment. And I think that's separate from the whole Washington Post article. This is something separate. But Washington Post article wise, it's been said that no woman accused Snyder or former longtime team president Bruce Allen of any appropriate behavior with women. But they expressed skepticism the men were unaware of the behavior they alleged. Like specifically Bruce Allen, there's a quote that says, "I would assume Bruce Allen knew because he sat 30 feet away from me and saw me sobbing at my desk several times every week," Miss Applegate said. And of course, Bruce Allen, who was fired, hasn't had any comments on the situation, which makes them look even more guilty. But now let's get to the everybody else, where it gets really serious. First of all, so like I said earlier, the allegations stem from 2006 to 2019, and it's mostly various forms of sexual assault that deserve for everybody to be fired. Let's start with Michael, Senior Vice President of Content and the voice of the Washington Redskins. Larry Michael. 7 former employees said Michael routinely discussed the physical appearance of female colleagues in sexual and disparaging overtones. In 2018, Michael was caught on a hot mic speaking about the attractiveness of a college-age intern. According to 6 former employees who heard the recording, Michael declined an interview request and retired Wednesday. Boy, looking real fishy. Then you have Alex Santos, the club's director of pro personnel, well, used to be, was accused by 6 former employees and 2 reporters who covered the team of making inappropriate remarks about their bodies and asking them if they were romantically interested in him. In 2019, Santos was the subject of an internal investigation after Rhiannon Walker, the reporter for The Athletic, shouts out to her, informed club management Santos had pinched her and told her she had an A word like a wagon. What? And reportedly asked her to date him, Walker said in an interview with the Post. Nora Princiati, a reporter for The Ringer who formerly covered the team, also said in the interview that she was harassed by Santos. Santos, who was fired this past week, declined to comment, of course. Then you have Richard Mann II. I know Richard Mann I is highly disappointed in this situation. He was the assistant director of pro personnel, who in one text message obtained by the Post told a female employee he and his colleagues debated whether her breasts had been surgically enhanced, and in another text message told another female employee to expect an inappropriate hug. And don't worry, that will be a stapler in my pocket, nothing else. What? Man who was fired last week, of course, declined to comment. Then you have Dennis Greene, former president of business operations, employed female sales staff to wear low-cut blouses, tight skirts, and flirt with wealthy suit holders, according to 5 former employees, including Applegate. Greene's 17 career with the club ended in 2018 amid a scandal over the revelation he had sold access to Redskins cheerleaders, including attendance at a bikini calendar photo shoot in Costa Rica as part of premium suite packages. Greene, of course, declined to comment. Then you have Mitch Gershman, former chief operating officer, who Applegate said routinely berated her with trivial problems such as printer malfunctions while also complimenting her body. So basically he was pulling the, oh no, this is broken now. And when she would come over, I guess he would look at her inappropriately. 2 other female employees supported Applegate's account of her sexual harassment and verbal abuse by Gershman, who left the team in 2015. And I'm assuming he elected not to comment back then. And basically to put it all together, Applegate said that it was the most miserable experience of my life working for the Washington Redskins. And she is 31 years old. It was the worst experience of her life as working as a marketing coordinator throughout her career. And she left in 2015. She basically was just like, this is just not a productive work environment, and was like, I'm out in 2015. And it's wild that people feel like they can't speak up, especially publicly, like the other 14 women, about something that's been going on for years. But even beyond the Washington article, there's also some other details that I'm seeing somewhere that Larry Michael said on somebody's first day that I can't wait to smash my face in that P word. What? The person also said, he said if I slept with him, I could be on TV with him. I did not, and I was not. Also said so many examples. On an away game trip, a lady was on the plane no one knew, came to find out. She had been on payroll for a while even though she never worked there. She worked in other ways and was paid to stay quiet. In the same text message thread, it says Nico, CFO, made his intern sleep with him, and then his wife would come in with their kids and we all would have to kiss a word. Snyder used to make us sit at our desk 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and people would do all kinds of things in the office. Every night as I would leave, the old white guys would sit on the back balcony smoking cigars, drinking whiskey, and no broads or blacks were allowed. Wait, so this is not even just sexual assault on so many levels. I mean, literally every level you can think of across the board. I mean, all of them. Like, this should be jail time. But then there's also racist. Something about they would get on the balcony and say no broads or blacks were allowed. Oh, whoa, what is going on? And like my boy Skins today said, there's no bright side to this. There's none. Because, I mean, even with Dan Snyder, there's a lot of accusations out there from, it seems like credible sources as far as text messages go and people recounting things that have happened in the past. But as far as the official Washington Post go, they say he may not have even known of other things, but I feel like he did. Also, my heart and condolences go out to any other female employees other than these 15 that also were going through this. So shouts out to everybody that was brave enough to speak up, especially Miss Applegate, who was willing to even show her face behind it so they could have a face behind it to make sure it wasn't just faking out of nowhere, to where they could have pretty much definitive proof. And then my heart also goes out to any other women that were involved in all of this going on that weren't part of the 15 who at least spoke anonymously about this. Because I know things like this are really hard to come out and speak about because you feel like nobody's going to believe you. You feel like it's going to cost you your career. There's various things that go on with that. So, but man, I feel bad for Ron Rivera. Of course not as bad for Ron Rivera as everybody that's involved that's been sexually assaulted, all of the women and everything. But, I mean, poor Ron Rivera has to come in and clean all of this up. And he did. I mean, he was getting people fired left and right. Larry Michael, on the other hand, retired to try to get ahead of this, but it came out anyway. So, hey, bro, your business is out there, you feel me? But Ron Rivera came in and cleaned house, and I feel like that just shouldn't be the job of the head coach. I feel like even picking a new logo and name for an organization shouldn't be part of the job of a head coach. He should just be strictly focused on the culture and the football side of everything. He should not be on the business side and the marketing side and everything. And now as a head coach, he's having to fire people who are technically above him. I mean, he literally had to come in and clean house, and I just feel like that's not fair to him to have to come through and do all of that. So shouts out to Ron Rivera. He should win Coach of the Year already. This may be enough for the NFL to force Dan Snyder to sell the team, and then they'll have to figure out what's going on with the other minority owners. But right now, I'm not seeing any definitive proof oh yeah, Dan Snyder is done. It's done. You gotta go type of thing. It might be there, might be in between the lines, but this Washington Post article is not enough to force him out. Some of the other details I gave y'all from text messages and other reports and other sources may be enough. But this Washington Post article specifically that just dropped the bombshell doesn't have Dan Snyder accused of anything. Dan Snyder is even more in the clear than Bruce Allen, who reportedly didn't do anything, but should have known because he was only a few feet away from a lot of the stuff that was going on. But man, whoever accused us of paying officials off, lied. Had to have. It made that whole first part I read out before we got to the Washington Post, it made all of that sound like a big lie, because there's no way we paid off refs. There's no way us paid off refs. There's no way. And what's crazy is that a lot of people want Jeff Bezos to buy the team, but Amazon has a long history of employees that hate working there, and the turnover is ridiculously high. I mean, he's great at being a businessman and making money, but it just doesn't seem like a work environment and an owner you would want to work under. But because of the lawyer that they've hired, I doubt it's exactly what they say, where it's about to conduct a review of the past culture of the team. I feel like this lawyer is here to come shield any lawsuits that are coming towards Dan Snyder. That's what I'm feeling like. It's about to get ugly. It's about to get messy. And it seems like this top paid lawyer, I mean the top of the top, about to be out here getting down and dirty for Dan Snyder, I'm assuming. Doing their best work. But yeah, man, as more news and details come out, I will definitely report it. Everything is crazy. I just want to see how y'all feel in the comments. I'm going to be reading all the comments because I just want to see y'all opinions on it. I know most of y'all, if not all of y'all, want Dan Snyder out of here. But definitely talk about that in the comments. Talk about which accusations you feel are true or not, because I'm assuming everything in the Washington Post is true. I'm just assuming off rip everything as far as that goes true. But everything before that, as far as like the Jay Gruden parts, with the holding passports or us paying off refs, I want to know what y'all think is true out of that. And like the Capri Bibbs situation and Alex Smith ended up getting hurt because of that. Jay Gruden, if that's true, bruh. If that's true, bruh. So make sure y'all get in the comments and let me know how y'all feel about it. Again, my heart goes out to every female employee that had to deal with anything that we had going on within the organization. And I appreciate the support from all of y'all. Make sure y'all like the video if you liked it, if you learned anything. Please subscribe if you haven't. Definitely hit the bell next to the subscription button so you can get a notification every time I release a video, every time I live stream. Of course, shout out to all my Pro Bowl sponsors, man. Really appreciate y'all. Again, I mean, all of my sponsors, all of my Pro Bowl sponsors, my rookie sponsors, everybody that donates, the money's going straight into equipment. That's why the stream is better. That's why the camera quality is better. That's why the streams don't crash when I live stream now. All of that. So shouts out to all of y'all. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.